Welcome inside another Celtics Roundtable on CLNS Media. CLNS Media, the leading online provider of audio video coverage of your Boston Celtics. Welcome inside a Friday edition of Celtics Roundtable here on CLNS Media, powered by the awesome people over at Greats. Go to greats.com. Use the promo code Celtics Roundtable for 15% off your next purchase from Greats. There's one shoe, bunch of shoes. I don't care. Get some new kicks. Excellent shoes. Coming to you on a Friday morning. Huge win. Young season, I know. The biggest win of the year. I know, not a lot of games. But a big win for the Boston Celtics on the road. They beat Milwaukee 96-89 at the Mecca. A fantastic game for a bunch of guys. We'll get to a lot of those performances. But stick around to the end of the show because I, Evan Valenti, am going to eat a Terry Rozier sandwich because I lost a bet, and I'm going to come through with that. But alongside Sam Sheehan, my dude, Zaire, my man, coming in at you on a Friday morning and after a terrific game. A lot of different ways we can go, and we'll touch on a lot of things. But I thought the player of the night, no question, on Thursday night was the performance of Al Horford. He was outstanding.
Yeah, just excellent game out of Al. I think, one of the things, particularly after Gordon Hayward went down, that everyone was going to be looking for was, can Kyrie and Al kind of gel, because, Kyrie is, has this reputation as being like a ball-stopping, sort of, no defense playing. We'll get to that later. Just kind of like a ball-stopping guy, whereas Al kind of moves it, but may not be as assertive, and it was like, you wondered, how long it was going to take for them to gel and sort of find their rhythm, and holy bleep, did they find that rhythm tonight. It was great to watch both of them out there, especially Al. 4 for 5, just finding the range. Not to mention some great defense on Giannis.
MVP. Al Horford looked like a star tonight, and he has that ability. And that's just, I've said it before on this show that I love what he brings to the game in so many different ways. And he has the ability to show up like this. He has the ability to kind of be a background singer at times, but he's just that guy that he is perfect for this team. He is perfect for Brad Stevens. He is Al Horford. And there is nothing that anyone can tell me about Al Horford in a bad way, because I just know he comes back. If he has a bad performance, he bounces back fast, and he bounces back in a way that just helps this team become better than it ever could be, man. I don't want any other center than Al Horford on this basketball team.
Yeah, he's a key for what they do. When you talk about what he can do on the offensive side of the floor, he allows guys like Isaiah Thomas and Kyrie Irving and Terry Rozier and Marcus Smart, whenever they're out there, to have the space they do on the floor, because he can stretch the floor. He's a legitimate three-point threat. You go back to that play, the ridiculous play by Kyrie, the find for Al, the top of the key for three. That's an insane play, but it only, again, because Al is a legitimate three-point shooter and because Kyrie's a whiz with the basketball, a lot of attention goes on Kyrie. You don't pay attention to the 6'10", 6'11" guy hanging around about three-point range. Kyrie with a fantastic find for Al, dumped it in. It was interesting in that game. In the beginning part of that game, in the first half especially, I found myself yelling at the television when Kyrie Irving didn't touch the ball. I was like, guys, Kyrie's got to have a touch every time on the floor. This is crazy. Then by the end of the game, the way Al just is such a calming presence over everybody. At the end of the game, I was like, if Al Horford does not get a touch on every possession inside of 2 minutes, they're doing it wrong. And there's a great example of Al, left side of the floor, backing his man down, and, dribbling on the clock. All of a sudden, a late cut by Kyrie. It's a great pass by Al, a nice layup for Kyrie. It's just, again, those two guys developing some sort of chemistry is going to be huge for this team. And tonight, it just seemed seamless. It seemed like these guys have been playing together forever.
It seemed like a giving situation, too, where it seems like Al Horford's usually the one giving. You know what I'm saying? And finally, tonight, people were able to give back to him.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And it's just, boy, on top of, Al, by the way, 14 shots, 27 points on 14 shots. That is monstrous. You got to really tip your hat to Kyrie, and what he did tonight. I think we saw a really good mix of Kyrie tonight, and what he can bring to the Celtics squad. We saw a really active Kyrie Irving on defense, which I think is something that a lot of Celtics fans were really looking to see. And you saw just what an athlete like him can do on the defensive end. How many blocks did he have today? I think it was I guess it was.
He had one block and two steals. Block and 2 steals. So he had a nice defensive effort.
I felt like he disrupted a lot more shots than that, though. Like just sort of getting in behind guys, finding ways to just be around the ball and use his length and his athleticism to sort of bother passing lanes and guys trying to get shots up. And so that was really great. And also, we saw him, really run the offense and only kind of dip into the Kyrie Irving bag of tricks when the Celtics got themselves in a bad situation late in the shot clock. And boy, did he ever bail them out with just some really nifty dribbling and finds and just breaking down the defense when, there's a busted play and you suddenly only got 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Like he really was really, really impressive tonight. Couldn't have been a further cry from that last game he had against Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's an important thing to note. Like when you talk about his lack of success in Game 1 against Milwaukee, a complete difference here in Game 2, and he always has a couple of these moments. If you remember, his time, pretty much his entire time in Cleveland, he always has a moment or two where you literally have to stand up and walk away from the television. You look at there was 2 moments. There was one in the first half, one in the second half. The one where he was driving left against Brogdon and turned back towards the middle and found another defender there and split the two, the spin move, and then had a floater, hit the back of the rim and all over the rim and in at the end of the shot clock. That was ridiculous. Then late in the second half, late in the fourth quarter, 1-on-1 against Giannis, and it was just basically no, I got this. Kyrie Irving, who is a taller point guard at 6'3", going up against the MVP of the league right now, the guy who has length for days. And it was just nope, see you goodbye. Put a hesitation move on him, and as Coach Nick pointed out, hit a layup off the opposite foot, it was a classic Isaiah Thomas arc on that shot. It was beautiful. And that's the mesmerizing stuff about Kyrie, where you're like, wow, this guy really, when he's on, can just get to any spot on the floor, and he's confident from all those spots. And I just, it's been sort of a not so great Kyrie start to the season, but this is the stuff that you sign up for, and he's not going to have that every night, but what you expect is him to have that more nights than not.
I will take this Kyrie Irving tonight that only scores 20 points than a Kyrie that's going for 35 and that is not as efficient and not as committed to defense. This Kyrie reminds me, once again, throwback reference of a Terrell Brandon, who you guys may not remember, but Terrell Brandon was so efficient. If you go back and look at his stats, the guy shot in the high 48s consistently. And it just reminded me of that. And that's the kind of guy that can lead a team to a championship quicker than a guy that's just, taking all the shots and figuring out, whatever on defense whenever he feels like it.
Yeah, there was a lot of great stuff out there. I think one thing that, was a little bit that people will be talking about a little bit in the coming days, little bit of some struggles for Jaylen Brown there in the first half, but you saw him kind of right the ship, get a couple of threes in the second half, and, he ended up with 10 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? He actually was only 1 point shy of a double-double despite having, only going 2 for 10 from the field. And I think that, this kind of shows you the kind of depth, even with the Gordon Hayward injury, and you see Jabari Bird and some of these other guys getting run time, but I think it kind of shows you the depth of the Boston Celtics that you expect these big contributions from Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, but even when those guys have kind of quieter nights, you forget that these are still legitimate stars in Kyrie Irving and Al Horford, who can just have these nights where even when your supporting cast isn't totally there, they can have a big night. And also shout out to Aaron Baines, who 12-7 and 1 attempted murder, which is a pretty good box score. So
yeah, I want to get to Jaylen and Jason and Baines later in the show, but I want to stick on Kyrie for a minute because I think that last point you brought up, Sheehan, is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the bench guys, the secondary guys, they're secondary guys for a reason. Especially in the Celtics team, they're very young, mm-hmm. and now you look at this is exactly why you have Kyrie and Al Horford and what you wanted in Gordon Hayward on the team. These young guys aren't going to have it all the time, and because Gordon Hayward went down, you're now forcing them to have it most of the time. And Jaylen had a rough night, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is exactly why you go out and get a guy like Kyrie Irving or having a guy like Isaiah Thomas. Imagine where they'd be right now if they didn't have Isaiah Thomas. Hayward was hurt. It's tough to make that play, I guess, because whatever. Let's say Isaiah's hurt. They have Gordon and Al. Like, I wonder if they had similar success. This is why you go and get Kyrie Irving, because this is a guy that can, at the end of the game, find a way to get you a shot, whether it's now via himself or passing to somebody else. Horford, it's exactly the reason why you signed him to this outrageous contract that everybody gave him so much crap for beginning of last year. Now, everybody is so far away from that topic. Al Horford, I think, proved it to everybody in the playoffs, where he was the Celtics' best player for the entire playoffs. He was ridiculous. I think he shot 60% from the field and 50% from three-point range. And now, again, you see it. And what's great about now is everybody's perspective on it. When he has a good game now, it's actually like celebrated, not, oh, I mean, this is just a blip on the radar. Al Horford will go back to being terrible again. Like, I can't tell you how many times I would hear clips and see tweets from people that are listening to, like, these crazy shows out in Boston sometimes, or people would hammer on Al Horford. He had a great game. Be like, oh, I wouldn't expect that too much. It's just Al. I'm like, no. This is exactly what you want him to do. You guys just don't see it. Tonight, everybody saw it. Everybody praised it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, you know, and even then, even though some of these guys, you know, struggled a little bit, like Jalen and Jason didn't really struggle. He just sort of picked his spots a little bit more and, you know, kind of didn't play as many minutes. But Jalen, like, he was still getting great looks. I mean, he just missed them. Like, he was still getting to the rim. He just had some of those Marcus Smart, you know, yips we've seen in years past, where just, like, the ball just would not bounce in as he got in around the rim. And, you know, he also got fouled, you know, quite a bit, like teams, I think, smartly choosing to not let him finish and rather just, like, tie him up when he gets those breaks. But, you know, and, like, there are going to be nights where the Celtics just miss shots, but I thought in that first half, you know, they played pretty well. They just, like, missed a lot of shots. And when you're talking about playing against a team when, like, a lot of your guys really aren't playing that well besides your two stars, and you're playing one of the top teams in the East, it just feels like a really good sign, and it seems like the Celtics are still pretty firmly in that, you know, second tier in the East behind the Cavs, who lost to the Nets last night.
Well, in being a Jaylen Brown skeptic, one thing that I like that I saw, a couple of things, was just those what we call winning plays that we say Marcus Smart makes. Those offensive rebounds that he was able to get in that fourth quarter, especially when Kyrie Irving missed a few shots. You know, he went in there, he got that offensive rebound, got the putback, got to the line. Another play when Al Horford couldn't quite get the rebound, he tapped it out, and there was Jaylen Brown. So those types of things were real cool. And I just think that those are cultural plays. You know what I'm saying? Cultural plays that this team makes in knowing that this is what we have to do to win basketball games. And we sell out and we go all the way in. So when Kyrie takes a shot, we don't just assume he makes it. You know what I'm saying? Or we don't just go, oh, Kyrie got another shot. No, we're going to sell out and we're going to go get the ball and we're going to put teams away. That is what I'm most really happy about as a Celtic fan and watching them play tonight, is that they played to put Milwaukee away in that fourth quarter. They smelled blood, they put their foot on their neck, and they took care of business. Milwaukee got some fluky threes at the end, and I'm not even going to call them fluky. They were open threes, and those threes were just taken and they made them. But anything they tried to get in a half-court offense, it just wasn't happening in that fourth quarter, and you got to love that.
Yeah, Jalen makes a lot of winning plays. Smart makes a lot of winning plays. You can make a winning play today by getting yourself a pair of greats. This episode is sponsored by... No, isn't that great? This episode is sponsored by Greats, makers of the all-time Greats classic, stylish, and comfortable sneakers sold at a great price. Greats is Brooklyn's first sneaker company. They have their own store in, I think, Williamsburg. It's in Brooklyn. Go check them out today. Go down there and look at these, because you won't be able to walk out of the store without one. You'll need to get one, at least one. They sell all the greats at greats.com. That's greats.com. Classic styles made the best for less. A wide selection of men's and women's shoes available. Coming out with new fall stuff all the time. I see all their tweets and I want to buy all their shoes. It's really bad. It's a really bad habit for me. Versatile style, suitable for any occasion. Tons of different colors and materials to choose from. You can choose from the best sellers like this one right here, the Royale leather lace-up, or their Worcester slip-ons. Are awesome, too. Coach Nick got one for his birthday. I know he's happy. Levy's got a pair. You need to get yourself a pair today by going to greats.com, greats.com. And when you check out, use the promo code Celtics Roundtable. Pick up a pair of these. Go to greats.com. by picking up a pair of these. Use the promo code Celtics Roundtable, and then tweet us a picture of your kicks. Show us your kicks at CLNS Roundtable, our Twitter handle. Again, greats.com, greats.com. Use the promo code Celtics Roundtable for 15% off. I do want to get to the younger guys. Again, what was really cool about Jalen, I think you mentioned this, Sheehan, already, is the rebounding thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really awesome about that is, I'll be honest, when they lost Avery Bradley, I did believe they lost a really good rebounder. Like, whether that's by design or whatever, I don't care. It's nice to see somebody pick up that slack. And Jaylen Brown sort of I would assume projects as a decent rebounder at his upper echelon.
Yes.
So to see him do that year 2, I'm into that. He started that. He's made that kind of a big part of his game from day one, grabbing rebounds. And I know he didn't shoot well tonight, but I want Jalen to shoot 10 times a game, because in order for him to get better, he's got to shoot a ton. So even though it wasn't the best Jalen game as both these guys have echoed, I was actually okay with Jaylen Brown tonight. He was fine. Yeah,
I mean, I think one thing that I've kind of harped on was of the 3 non-Horford guys coming back, Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier, and Jaylen Brown, all last year were elite rebounders at their position, elite. Marcus Smart, besides Tony Allen, was literally the best rebounder under 6'7" in the NBA. So, from a contested perspective, and by that same token, I think Terry Rozier had 7 rebounds tonight. Also, this is a small team, but it's a team that can get contested rebounds, and I think that that's extremely key for them. You see Jason Tatum and his length out there. You see how Jaylen Brown is able to use his athleticism to get up and get those boards. And, you can see the Celtics sort of, even against a long, freakish physical team like the Milwaukee Bucks, they can still get up there and get rebounds even when they're not really playing with size. And I think that that's kind of a huge difference between this iteration of the Boston Celtics versus last year's. And I think some of that is also got to kind of be Kyrie a little bit, adding some of that size and just how bigger they are across all the positions. I mean, the Celtics, going into tonight, 11th in the league in rebound rate, which is a far cry from the 26th or 27th they finished the rate in last year. So, if that keeps up, that's really something that's going to be a huge difference for this team going forward.
Yeah, I want to stick on that for a second, because I think it's interesting. You mentioned how the Boston Celtics are kind of a small team, and you look at Milwaukee, and they're just gigantic. They're just so long. Everybody's long. Brogdon, Middleton, Giannis obviously is one of the ones that you're going to look at. Henson, Thon McCour, even Delly uses his length to I would say a strength. They have just a bunch of long guys, and yet Boston, and we talk about rebounding, not just to make this whole thing about rebounding here, but they only got out rebounded by 2 in game 1, and they wiped the floor with the Bucks in game 2 in the rebounding margin. 47 for the Celtics, 37 for the Bucks. I don't know where this team just all of a sudden became excellent at rebounding. The addition of Aaron Baines is going to be a big one. I think Jason Tatum is an exceptional rebounder, especially for a 19-year-old. You talk about Marcus Smart's improved numbers and his contested numbers. Terry Rozier, according to Al Horford, is the best rebounding guard he's ever seen. This team, they got rid of so many guys, but they made a huge problem of theirs last year, an actual strength of theirs against teams that are much bigger than them. It's crazy.
Well, okay, first of all, I remember I said that Terry Rozier can average about 7 boards a game, and I got laughed at by some people on YouTube, but look who's averaging 7 points per game in the first 4 games. How about that?
Zaire's going to call you out all year. Just going to heads up. He's going to call you out. I love
it. But check this. Once again, do we have great rebounders? No. But the fact that these guys, this is what happened last night, or what are we on tonight, last night, whatever. This is what happened. Boston played to win, and Milwaukee, they sucked down. You saw they weren't getting calls. They were getting out hustled, and they looked like a young basketball team that was being outperformed. And the confidence just sunk and sunk and sunk, and that's what happened tonight. So it's easier to get those rebounds when the other team ain't fighting as hard as they normally do, because they're going wait, what's happening tonight? It ain't happening like it usually happens. Look at Antetokounmpo. This guy is shooting like 70% against everybody else almost. And against Boston, he's in like the mid-50s. And not to say he played a bad game. Yeah, right. Not to say he played a bad game, but he's been unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? And tonight, at times, he looked pedestrian-like at times. You know what I'm saying? Where you go, okay, he ain't going to make every shot, And so those types of things wear and tear at a young team because they go, wait. The way we normally play, things aren't happening the same way. And how do you react from that? And while they're trying to figure that out, Boston's on a roll. And Boston's going all in. And Boston is like, we don't have a guy that can shoot 70%, but we're going to go out here and we're going to out-hustle you. We're going to fight, and we're going to put you away. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, just very encouraging that Boston was able to put a team like Milwaukee away from home, especially when they played so lousy against them in Game 1. I do want to talk about how Marcus Smart, even though he shot terribly in this game, he still had a huge impact, especially at the end of the game when he's racking up charges and all this other stuff. I thought the play that I thought iced it was Smart drove the basket and then was gonna do a lay-in, but realized Aaron Baines is right next to him and just a little drop-off pass there, and Baines dunked it. Like, I think there was a minute 10 left in the game. I was like, that's Marcus getting it. Instead of trying to finish a tough shot, just give it to the guy behind you and let him do it. It's much easier for him. After that, and even Giannis came down and hit like 2 threes in a row. I'm like, no, this game was over at that shot. And for Marcus to kind of process that way, that was excellent. I want to make sure he gets some credit for another game of great defense, even playing on a bum ankle. And I do want to give a shout out to Shemi Ojeleye, who again doesn't do a whole lot of stuff, but he was asked to guard Giannis tonight and a couple of times, and he held his ground. And Giannis couldn't move him around, and he played him physical and tough. Again, for a rookie to come in like that, a second-round pick to come in like that and give you that kind of effort in the Game 4 in the season, yeah, you get a shout-out on Celtics Roundtable, no question about it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go to work at the Ojeleye factory unless you have your green card. And I'm sorry, Giannis, you're Greek man, so you absolutely cannot do that. Denied. Shouts to Shemi, man. Like, Jesus Semalor Ojeleye, my man.
Shouts to you for that green card joke. That was a little...
Yeah, I figured
that was spectacular.
Well, you gotta remember I don't have a shirt on right now, so
that's true.
A lot of people probably think, oh, this is like Sheehan's like Halloween costume, like he's getting.
No, it's just Sheehan.
No, this is what I wear when I'm getting ready to like fire up Twitter and post for the night. Like this is how I'm writing all my tweets and like just watching the game just like this every night. I take my shirt off, put on a tie, ready to go.
Yeah. Every day. It's the same.
Too weird? All right.
I mean,
I like running the show off the rails right before you eat the sandwich.
I think the only way to follow up that soliloquy is to eat a Rozier sandwich. So hang on, I gotta go to Skype. I gotta put my video on so people can see me. You guys can see me, right?
Oh yes, I can see you.
So I made this delicious sandwich. So let me give you the background. Pasta falls out of my sandwich. Let me give you the background. Back when I thought the Celtics were going to draft Markelle Fultz, I made a bet that Terry Rozier would not be on the roster because I was so dead set on the Celtics drafting Markelle Fultz. I didn't see the need for so many guards. They would find a way, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then they traded the pick, and that thing was all out the window.
Traded Avery Bradley.
So I said I will eat a Rozier sandwich if he's on the opening day roster. He's still on the roster. It's Game 4, and I consulted my Italian grandmother, and we made sauce together. And just for this.
Do you have a non-Italian grandmother?
What? No, I have 2 Italian grandmothers. It's fantastic. On my dad's side, though. Yeah, it's glorious. It's white bread. It's pasta. I used my grandmother only had ziti in the house, so I had to use ziti. So it's white bread, pasta, sugar, which is actually a good thing. There's already sugar in the sauce, so that doesn't really help. That doesn't really hurt too much. And ranch dressing on a sandwich, and I'm gonna eat it in front of everybody on a show because I am a loser and I like to pay my debts, I guess.
All right.
But here we go. Bite one of Rozier sandwich.
Here we go.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yes, dude. All right, we're gonna need some descriptions. I saw you left a wounded soldier out there on the
Oh.
city. You left a man behind.
Hey.
That's you're not allowed to do that according to Army.
Okay.
All right, let's get some reviews. Let's get some reviews in between bites here.
So it's not terrible. I don't. What's interesting about this is the texture from the sugar. There's already sugar in the sauce. A lot of Italians put sugar. If you don't, it'd be weird actually. If you didn't put sugar in your pasta sauce. So there's already in there, so it's sweet. But like just the granulated texture on the roof of my mouth right now, not cool. But not gonna lie, the rest of the sandwich is tolerable. So, I mean, you know.
It looks structurally unsound. Like
it's all over the place.
Yeah, it looks like you're struggling through it. I will say this though, I respect that you like had enough, respect for the craft that you decided to get dressed up to eat the spaghetti. Spaghetti sauce that you're wearing. The blazer.
I got a crying Drake shirt on right now. Excellent.
You look like you're getting ready to like go out in like the meatpacking district, but then also decided to like get your spaghetti sandwich. You've truly embraced like the Rozier like in New York last week lifestyle.
This is not okay. Upon further review, like 6 bites in, I'm not feeling it anymore. I can't do it. And so with that, that's the do it for this episode of Celtics Roundtable on CLNS Media, brought to you by the amazing people over at greats.com, greats.com. Go online, get a pair of these kicks over here, or whatever you want, from greats.com, and use Celtics Roundtable for your promo code for 15% off your purchase. If you're watching us on YouTube, hey, what's up? Give us a like button. And because I ate a Rozier sandwich, you should subscribe to CLNS Media if you haven't done so already. For the 10,000 of you that do already, I love you guys so much. I can't believe there are that many of you. If you don't follow us on Twitter, that's at CLNS Roundtable. Okay, that's our own Twitter handle. If you want to listen to us on the go, make sure you check out the Boston Celtics news feed on iTunes or Stitcher, or download this CLNS Radio mobile app for free. You can do any of that stuff. It'll get all of our content. And for everybody I'm doing this show with, Sam Sheehan, my guys, Zaire, their producer, Matt Ignall, I'm Evan Valenti. See you guys next week, where I might not do this again, but we'll do something fun on Celtics Roundtable on CLNS Media.